Aloha! Welcome back to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Gina Ryan, and I'm so happy to be with you again today as we consider the many ways to bring your mind and body back to its natural peace and calm. In today's episode, I want to talk about breaking the holiday anxiety cycle and, at the end, some affirmations for holiday peace. I know we're just getting started on the 2024 holiday season. We are opening it up with Thanksgiving next week. And this is a joyful, exciting, festive, and nostalgic time of year as we roll in November and December, January for many, many people. Yet, this very same holiday spectrum has two very extreme ends. And the extreme ends of this holiday spectrum can cause many people undue stress and anxiety. Now, at one end, we have the expectations and the pressure of too much to do, too many people to see, and more prep and fuss than our holiday platter can handle. At the other end of the spectrum, we have stress and anxiety of not having big enough, elaborate plans to tell everyone who asks, "What are you doing for the holiday?" I know many people are in the beautiful sweet spot of the holiday center, and I wish you all a very happy holiday season. And for those who fall on either end of the spectrum that I described earlier, this show is for you. First off, let's examine the issue of too much holiday. Then we'll examine the issue of too little holiday and offer some affirmations to soothe your soul. What are the sources of anxiety and depression when it comes to the holiday time? It can be that anticipation of family conflict. You know, the fear of arguments and criticisms or tension during family gatherings. We just had a presidential election, and so that may even add more to this year's holiday mix. Every family will be different, I'm sure. So what can we do around that when we are anticipating conflicts? We can set boundaries and limit the time that we are going to spend with challenging individuals. There's nothing wrong with setting up your own holiday for yourself and your family, your little family. There's also the pressure to meet expectations, feeling obligated to meet the societal or family expectations for a, quote, perfect holiday. I can just feel the pressure when I say that, perfect holiday. So what can you do here? You could begin to focus on meaningful and personal traditions that you made for yourself or your nuclear family, rather than the external ideals. Again, this is for people who are feeling too much stress. I know there are a lot of you out there who can't get enough of striving for the perfect holiday. You are not the people I am talking to today. I meet with so many people who are struggling with this whole beginning of the holiday season because they feel obligated to meet societal or family expectations. It also causes a lot of financial stress for people. Anxiety over holiday spending on gifts and travel, the special events. The roosters of this all come home to roost in January when the bills roll in. So this year, maybe you could create a realistic budget and explore low-cost or homemade gift options for next month's holidays. And this holiday, with November being Thanksgiving, maybe you could find ways of making unique and less elaborate foods, things you've wanted to try for holidays and haven't before. It might be a fun experiment. We also run into things like social obligations. People feel overwhelmed, totally overwhelmed by the number of parties, gatherings, or events. Don't worry, if you have none of those to go to, I've got more for you in the second half of the show. Because not everybody gets invited to a lot of parties, gatherings, or events. And those who do often are overwhelmed by these invitations. They can also begin to take the reins themselves and prioritize the events and decline when necessary and schedule downtime in between all of these gatherings. Now, this is important to remember that you have the power to say no, and you can say it in a very lovely way. And I'll give you some ideas when we get into the affirmations of how that can sound. You know, something that comes up for many people at this time of year, whether you enjoy the holidays or not, is grieving. Grieving during the holidays. There are painful reminders during these times of year of lost loved ones and the recent life changes that may have been brought about by a death in the family. This is a good time to honor their memory through personal rituals or seek support from others. Please reach out if you are struggling with grieving during the holidays. And if you are not one to want to reach out right now, there's different stages of grieving depending where you are this holiday season. Honor their memory. Find personal rituals that are important to you and your close family members. This can make you feel more connected. Speaking of connection, loneliness or isolation comes up a lot during this holiday season that we're opening up here in November. The lack of societal connections or inability to join a family celebration that you are accustomed to going to. What you can do is to reach out to community events, volunteer, or connect with your loved ones virtually. We've all learned how to do that over the last 5 years. So it's wonderful that you can do that. Find unique and creative ways to stay connected. What happens this time of year is a lot of people start to compare themselves. And comparing one's life and accomplishments or family dynamics to others is what can come into play. So I want you to practice gratitude and focus on your unique strengths and experiences and your unique family and accomplishments and dynamics. We also run into things like having unrealistic fantasies, especially when we are watching holiday movies or walking through the stores with everything being so bright and extravagant, to say the least. So if you are expecting the holidays to fix personal problems with all that joy and glitter and brightness, and to have all that bring you perfect happiness, that would be an unrealistic fantasy. So I would want you to keep realistic expectations and embrace the imperfection of the season and the imperfection of your personal problems, that one is not going to fix the other. What is the old saying? You can't put lipstick on a pig. It is like we know what is going on, and we don't need to have unrealistic fantasies and hoping that glitter and lights can fix things or bring us that happiness we've been waiting all year to have. It isn't the way it works. So bring it down a few notches and keep realistic expectations and embrace what is, because that is absolutely wonderful. Other things that come up are crowds and overstimulation. If you have been anxious or highly stressed this year, the last thing you want is to be triggered by holiday shopping and traffic or super busy environments. So Some suggestions might be to shop online or visit stores during the off-peak hours or delegate those shopping tasks to someone else. We also run into things about being uncertain about traditions, right? We could have stress over navigating changes in family traditions or when we are starting new ones. And the answer to this is to communicate openly about preferences and embrace flexibility. Flexibility works wonderful. And it works even better when you are communicating openly about what is important to you. Before I move on to some coping strategies, I want to give just a quick idea of signs of anxiety and depression around the holidays. If you are noticing some of this changing, it might just be this season. You could have increased worry or restlessness. You can feel you're kind of on the edge of that stress and anxiety. You could have difficulty concentrating or making decisions. Irritability or some mood swings are very common. And maybe you are having trouble sleeping or you find yourself oversleeping. You just want to get under the covers. You may have a desire to withdraw from social activities because you're feeling overwhelmed. And you could have physical symptoms such as fatigue, headaches, or even stomach aches. So stay tuned with those and see how they change as the holiday season rolls on and you add some of these coping strategies. Mindfulness practices. I want you to incorporate your meditation or breathing exercises to help you manage the ongoing stress of the holidays. And I want you to prioritize self-care, such as don't let go of your hobbies or your exercise or your relaxation time. Keep those in the mix. And share your feelings with trusted friends, family, or support groups, whether they be online or in person, or just a friend that you can actually get these feelings out to. You can use journaling. Maybe you are in therapy or counseling or see a coach, and you can use all of that to process these emotions that are arising. Remember to stay organized, and that will help you stay ahead of the game and reduce last-minute stress and chaos. And I want you to always remember your boundaries. Practice saying no. This is the season. If you haven't been practicing this year, now is the time to practice. Yes, do it now, even though it will be difficult, because when you say no, you are saying yes to something else, and that may mean your own self-care. And I want you to also remember your self-compassion because you are doing the best you can. Now let's examine the issue of not having so many plans, having too few holiday plans, and I mean too little according to the social norm. Remember, being alone doesn't equate to loneliness. True connection comes from within, and even in a crowded room, one can feel isolated. Loneliness is an inner experience, not merely a matter of circumstance. So, what are some strategies for handling the holiday question that you will inevitably get? What are you doing for the holidays when you are not doing anything special? First off, I want you to keep it simple. Respond with something light and neutral, such as, I'm planning to have a quiet holiday this year, just taking it easy and enjoying some downtime. Maybe you could redirect the conversation, shift the focus to the other person. You could say, not much actually. How about you? What are your plans? Often when people ask us that question, they are dying to share what they're doing. You could emphasize self-care. You could frame your choice as intentional, such as, I'm taking the holidays to rest and recharge. It feels like a good way to do the holidays. You could use humor. You could lighten the mood with a playful response, saying something like, I'm planning to become best friends with my couch. Or just me and my stack of movies. It's going to be epic. Stay honest but brief. Be truthful without over-explaining. Sometimes when we are stressed or we are anxious, we over-explain. You could say something as simple as, I don't have any big plans this year, just keeping it simple. And another idea would be to frame it positively. Highlight the benefits of a low-key holiday. You could say, I'm really looking forward to a peaceful, no-pressure holiday. Another one would be to set boundaries if necessary. Sometimes people push us and we need to set a boundary. If you're pressed for details, politely decline to elaborate. You could say, I'm keeping things low-key this year. I hope you have a great holiday, though. Another way would be to express gratitude. You could show appreciation for the question without diving in. You could say, thanks for asking. I'm just enjoying the season at my own pace. You could prepare a go-to line, and this is important for people who tend to lose their ability to speak quickly or speak their feelings when they are under pressure, right? So you could have rehearsed a response and have it ready to go. You could say something like, nothing big, just a relaxing time at home. How about you? Pick one of these that we've talked about and rehearse it if you are one of those people who don't do well with a pressured question at the time. You probably lay in bed at night and think of all kinds of great things you could have said. But sometimes when we're under pressure, that part of our brain is not working as quickly. And finally, you could reframe for yourself. Remind yourself that you don't owe anyone an elaborate explanation. Choosing simplicity is a valid and empowering choice. Now, before I let you go, I just want to leave you with a number of affirmations for some holiday peace. Pull these up whenever you need them. Let's jump right into them. I am at peace with my choice to have a quiet holiday. It's okay to enjoy the holidays in my own way. My plans are valid even if they look different from others. I have the right to protect my peace and recharge during the holidays. I can redirect conversations with ease and confidence. I am allowed to prioritize rest and self-care during this season. I release the need to explain my choices to others. Humor and lightness help me navigate holiday conversations with grace. I can enjoy the season without pressure or obligation. I embrace my unique way of celebrating, even if it means doing less. I don't need to meet others' expectations to feel good about my holiday. I am grateful for the opportunity to create my own holiday traditions. I choose responses that align with my truth and comfort level. My holiday is about what feels right for me, not what others expect. And finally, I honor my needs and feelings this holiday season without guilt. I hope today's show will give you some alternative ways to think about the 2025 holiday season. And now for today's quote. Be at peace with yourself, and your choices will radiate joy. And that's from Unknown. I'll be back in a few more days with another podcast. Until then, be well and aloha.